Check out what I pulled home out of the fucking scrap pile. I did have to pay $100 for it, but at the same time, I think that's well worth it. Um, and I'm not gonna run the engine in this video. Fuck, what is it? Video number 416, I think it is. There's a quick little video of this thing running. But yeah, drug this home out of the scrap pile, paid $100 for it, but I think it was worth every goddamn penny. I've now owned this thing for all of about 12 hours, and I really don't know shit all about it, but it's a Mitsubishi branded nm155, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Limited, made in Japan. And I don't know exactly what you would call this engine. I mean, I guess I would call it just like an Asian style industrial diesel or whatever. There's like, if, you know, just like, I don't know, scrolling through YouTube or whatever, you see these style of engines on all sorts of little tractors and water pumps and all kinds of shit over in Asia. And I was always really like impressed and blown away by these things at how heavy they seem to be built. Like just everything on it is like, you know, cast iron and what have you, aside from like, you know, the fuel tanks, sheet metal. Obviously there's a sheet metal cover over here, and oddly enough, the tensioner pulley for the radiator fan is plastic, and that's strange, but I guess, you know, easy enough to replace that. And yeah, it's a little single cylinder water cooled diesel. You know, of course, you can see on the front there advertised at like 15 horsepower. I have no idea about really anything on this. It seems to be in okay condition. Obviously, the radiator's kind of crapped up. I'll do what I can to, you know, clean that out and whatnot. The little bit that I was looking around on the internet so far, it actually seems to be a wet sleeve engine. Yeah, nm155. And I really can't find fuck all for information on this thing. If somebody knows of a resource for information and parts and that sort of thing on it, I would love to know, because this thing does run pretty good. I've only run it for all of about half an hour or something, so I don't, you know, don't have any time on it. It is a pressurized oil system. Yeah, those two hard lines. Oh, can I do this better? Yeah, those two hard lines there are the oil lines, and one oil line runs to the top of the head right here, and then the other one runs to this like little mechanical telltale for oil pressure. And you know, it of course has the starter motor on it on that side there, but I don't have that hooked up and working yet. And so it's actually got a hand crank provision on the front here, which presumably you got to drive that roll pin out to get that cover off. I don't really know. That looks like an oil seal. But anyways, I haven't started off the electric start yet, but I've got the hand crank off a old Wisconsin engine, which is not the right size for it, but it's the same concept. And, whoops. Obviously, you're not going to be able to turn this engine over while it's making compression, but this over here is a little compression release. Near as I can tell, just judging from the fact that the cover is over here and connected to like the over on the exhaust side of the valve cover, I would assume that it holds the intake valve or exhaust valve open. And then with that compression release flipped, you can relatively easily... Did I not have it? No, okay. Actually, look, there you go. Little oil pressure telltale came up, and see starting to slowly go away. And then I guess if I do that again. Yeah. But anyways, it's got a manual fuel control, little dial here. You just loosen it up and turn it to, whatever speed you want. But, turn it to the start position there, or roughly thereabouts. Spin the thing up fast as you can by hand. Flip the compression release, and she fires off. The fuel filter here looks the same as like, a Kubota tractor or whatever. So that's easy enough. But it's really surprising how big and beefy this thing is. Unfortunately, the fuel return was out of the back of the injector there, and it broke off. But you can see it's got head studs on it. The friggin' valve cover is cast aluminum. Really big, beefy head on it. I think this thing... There's very, very limited information that I can find about this thing, but I think it weighs 500 pounds from what I could see looking around, which, looking at this thing right quick, I would sure as hell believe it. Even the, oil filler is cast aluminum. It doesn't have an oil filter on it, but because it's got an oil pump and the oil lines, I could very easily add an oil filter to it. That'd be no worries at all. It came, when I got it, it had, it had Murphy switches on it, and the guy that I got it from unfortunately cut the Murphy switches off of it, which sucks. Or Murphy gauges, I should say. But I just love how dead nut simple this thing is. The fuel gauge is just a piece of fucking clear hose on the side of the fuel tank. Obviously, that's, needs to be replaced. Can't see fuck all through it. The fuel that was in this thing was absolutely disgusting. Looked like it'd been sitting around for quite a while, but... Put some fresh diesel in it. It runs pretty good. I guess what I'm like, one thing that I find kind of interesting is that, it's interesting that I can't find fuck all information on it. However, the engine tag is in English, and the instructions are in English. So, presumably this was intended for the American market. The radiator cap, which on one hand, who knows if it's original, because there's no, Japanese lettering on it, so maybe it's not. But there's lots of things on here, and I'm assuming just because the engine says made in Japan, I can't recognize Japanese from Chinese or anything else. Well, yeah, fuck, I don't know. But it's interesting that it's written in both languages. And, so that's what leads me to believe that this is actually, like I said, intended for the American market. But yeah, so this style of engine, whatever you want to call it, Asian style, diesel, whatever, I have personally never seen one in the U.S. Just watching videos online, like I was saying, I really like the idea of it because it's so big and heavy built, and also it's so incredibly simple. It's actually, gravity feed fuel from the fuel tank to the filter to the injection pump. And it's got this cute little primer on here. It had a Murphy fuel shutdown on it, so I just put a piece of brass on there for the moment just to get it working. But Yeah, I personally have never seen one of these in the U.S. And like I said, I really wanted one, so I was like looking on Alibaba and that kind of thing to, see if I could find like a knockoff generic, Yulong Ding Dong engine. But luckily and happily enough, stumbled upon this Mitsubishi, and this looks like the quality that you would expect to see on like a 1970s Kubota. And like with how overbuilt and how heavy this thing is, it reminds me, like I said, 1970s Kubota. And just looking around real quick, the Chinese versions of these engines look really shitty, which is, what you would expect is kind of cut rate Chinese crap. But this seems very good. All the castings seem very thick and very good on them. Very excited to get this engine going and use it and what have you. I'm intending I'm intending on putting this on my log splitter and also running an air compressor off it, because this engine here, doesn't need any electricity to run whatsoever. You can just hand crank it, flip the compression release, and away you go. And so if I then use this engine to make compressed air, then you have compressed air with no electricity. And if you have compressed air, and boy, you can do a lot of things. You can run really any tool that you want and can imagine is available in a pneumatic tool. And it already came with the split taper pulley on it. I'm not sure if that's a Browning pulley or not. I haven't looked for like any kind of manufacturer on it, but yeah, with the belt drive on there, of course you can run whatever you damn well please off the end of it. But yeah, if anybody knows anything about these, can point me in the right direction, has any experience, if anybody has seen one of these in the U.S., I would be curious to hear. It did come with an oil bath air cleaner, but unfortunately that got banged around and beat up and what have you, so I think I might just make like a different air cleaner deal for it. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there and show this thing right quick, because like I said, I have never seen one of these, and certainly not up close and in any kind of detail. So I will make many more videos about this as I do more with it, because I know I was looking for information on these and couldn't find shit.